Welcome to Duke Devil 95. My name is Brad Burnett. Shazam Fury of the Gods came out recently, and it's made quite an impression. So let's talk all about it. All right, I'm going to get into a little bit of spoilers about this one. Not that anyone seems to care based on the box office. Shazam Fury of the Gods is a sequel to the Shazam movie that came out 4 years ago in 2019. It stars Zachary Levi as Billy Batson, a young teenager who gains the powers of the gods through a wizard and becomes a hero known as Shazam. The comics originally known as Captain Marvel rather, but rights intervened. So anyway, this movie takes place about 2 or 3 years after the first one. It starts in a museum in Greece, I believe, where we see that two of the daughters of Atlas appear, and I'm just going to call them their actresses because I don't remember their names. Lucy Liu and Helen Mirren. They go to this museum and steal a broken staff of the wizard who gave Billy his powers. Why are they doing this? They plan to get revenge against the wizard for killing their father Atlas. And they also plan to get back the power of the gods that the wizard gave to Billy Batson. So what have Billy Batson and the Shazam fam been doing for the last few years? Well, they've been superheroing all about Philadelphia. But ultimately, you got to remember, these are all kids who are transformed into adults with superpowers. They are still kids, which means they're not the best at superheroing. After saving a bunch of people from the collapsing Benjamin Franklin Bridge, the bridge collapses, just goes to the ground. Nice try, guys. And the media labels them the Philly fiascos. Again, time has passed. The kids have gotten older. Their interests have changed. Billy's about to turn 18. He's getting concerned about being kicked out of the foster system. Freddie is still getting bullied in school, but while he's there, he meets this new student named Anne. He kind of likes, of course, and to impress her, he decides to show off his superpowers, where he turns into, I think it's Adam Brody from the OC. But it turns out she's not just a new student. There's a third daughter of Atlas, and that's her. So suddenly Lucy Liu, Helen Mirren show up, and they steal Freddie's powers with the staff. Billy and the rest of the Shazam fam come in to try to stop them and help Freddie, but the daughters escape with Freddie. Billy tries to negotiate with Helen Mirren, but that doesn't go well. Eventually, Billy and the rest of the Shazam kids are able to defeat her and take her prisoner back to their headquarters, which is the Rock of Eternity, where the wizard used to be headquartered. Helen Mirren easily escapes, and on the way out, she steals the golden apple, which is the seed of the tree of life. This has some meaning in the movie. Ultimately, it's going to mean destruction. It's revealed that Lucy Liu wants to use the apple to restore the magic realm that the humans have taken over, basically, and just kick the humans out and restore the land of the gods. Helen Mirren and Freddie's girlfriend Anne turn on Lucy Liu because they're like, look, we don't want to do that. We just want to get our powers back, and get revenge against the wizard. Lucy then kills Helen Mirren and depowers Freddie's girlfriend. And the Shazam fam tries to fight back rather, but Lucy Liu ultimately depowers them all except for Billy. Lucy Liu plants the apple in the Philly Stadium, and the apple starts taking over. We see all sorts of plant life and everything growing all over the place, taking over the city. Monsters appear. They run rampant over Philadelphia. Considering, Philly the way it is now, it's probably not the worst thing to happen. Ultimately, Billy confronts Lucy Liu while she's riding her pet dragon and defeats her. But in the battle, Billy is killed. Freddie's girlfriend Anne takes the Shazam kids and their foster parents to the God's realm for a funeral for Billy. But at that point, the last living being who has any godly power shows up. Wonder Woman shows up. She resurrects Billy, returns him to life. Everyone goes back home to Philadelphia. The wizard ends up moving in with him, and Billy says, I don't know what my hero name is. What is it? And the wizard goes, Shazam. And that's the end of the movie. Of course, we get some end trailer scenes, which ultimately mean nothing in the end because DC reboot. And that's the movie. So overall, what are my thoughts on this movie? It's just okay. Wasn't as bad as Ant-Man to me, but just kind of unremarkable. And honestly, it feels kind of out of time. It feels like more of a movie that would have fit better in the late 90s early 2000s. It doesn't really expand much from the first movie. I think it's a little cornier than the first one, and I don't think it really needs to be in the whatever unified DC universe there is or will be or whatever. It could be its own movie on its own. Might even do better. The one thing I will say is, there's not a lot of wokeness to it. Usually we get a lot of that in stuff these days because of narratives that have to be enforced. Look, the Shazam family is diverse. We got Billy, we got Mary, we got Pedro, we got Freddie, we got Eugene, and we got Darla. Whole bunch of kids from different racial backgrounds, but it doesn't matter. They're a foster family. They all get along. Nothing is made of it. That's fine. Good. That's the way it should be. Another thing, they reveal early in the movie that Pedro is gay, but he's not telling anyone about it. And then when he finally reveals it, everyone's like, yeah, man, we knew. Oh, you did? Yeah, man, cool. We're good. We're good. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's the way it should be. It's like, don't make a big deal out of it. It didn't even need to be said. But when it's said, it's like, of course, we're okay. Let's just go back and do our superhero thing. The other thing I thought is actually, you know what? This is probably a movie that's better for younger people. There is some cursing in there, but there's not a lot of adult themes or anything that would be difficult for kids to understand. Of course, there is superhero violence. You're going to get that. But I think overall it's more geared towards kids. The humor's a little juvenile at times. Zachary Levi is Levi, I forget. As Billy Batson in the adult form is still being a kid. His humor is kind of ridiculous. But overall, it's I think if kids would enjoy it. One thing that stuck out to me is, the parents eventually find out that the kids are the Shazam fam. And they end up bursting into the house all in costume and like, oh my God, the Shazam people are here, the Philly Fiascos. And they're like, no, it's us. We're your kids. We're your kids. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. Hold on. Time out. The actress who plays Mary Marvel is the same actress who plays Mary Bromfeld. So, the kids turn into adults. But now the kid who's kind of an adult now is playing the adult version of herself. So mom and dad don't notice this over the last few years. I mean, they've seen them on TV. There's a simple solution for this in the DC universe. It's this. Glasses. Look, you put glasses on someone, you don't know who they are. Now look, who am I now? I don't look the same. I'm a totally different person. Who's in charge of this video now? This ain't the Duke Devil channel anymore because I'm a different person. I'm wearing glasses. This has worked for 80 plus years. Why didn't they do something like that? I don't know. Anyway, it's all right. Zachary Levi's okay. It's the type of character he usually plays. And like I say, generally, I like him. I like him as an actor, but he doesn't add much to the character here. My preference, I'd go back and watch his old TV show, Chuck. I'd had more fun doing that. But, the real drama is not the movie itself. It's everything that happened after. Worst DC opening ever. Before the release, there were indications that this movie was not going to meet financial expectations. It didn't. It barely got over $30 million. When the original movie, the first movie opened 4 years ago, it opened to like $54 million. So basically, it's almost 50% less than the original movie. The original movie, I think, cost, $85 million. It made 363, something like that, worldwide. Okay, not a hit. This movie cost $125. That's not including advertising. Based on what we know about general metrics when it comes to movies and how much they have to make based on what it costs to make them, this movie's going to have to make over $450 million. No way that's going to happen. No way. Black Adam with Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, didn't break $400 million. Again, this is the worst DC movie opening ever. Period. Bomb. So what happens now? Where do we go from here? Well, of course, It's time to play the blame game. Yeah, it's time to point some fingers, and ironically, this image is perfect. And surprisingly, for me at least surprisingly, it was Zachary Levi who came out of the gate swinging with blame. Like I say, it's for me it was strange because I've watched Zachary Levi over several years, and I think he's generally perceived as a nice guy. He has a general positive attitude. He seems likable. I like him in the interviews he's done. He comes off well. Um, I like to think it's not a facade, but at the same time, these are all actors. Everyone is an actor, and it's not just acting on stage, it's acting all the time to promote their movies. So who does he blame? Well, first off, he blames the marketing department. He says it should have been marketed as a family movie, and it wasn't. Legitimately, maybe he has a point. At the same time, I heard there was almost 100 million spent on marketing. So it's not like word was not getting out about this movie. Who does he blame also? Well, The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. If you've been paying attention to any of the drama with Warner Brothers and DC, you know what happened with Black Adam. You know how Dwayne Johnson is trying to position himself into power for the future DC universe and dragged along poor Henry Cavill. We could talk about Henry Cavill till the cows come home. But from what I've heard and read throughout the internet, Dwayne Johnson did not want to have any involvement with Shazam. He didn't want to appear in Shazam. He didn't want Shazam to appear in his movie. He didn't want any crossover whatsoever. He wanted Black Adam to be Black Adam, even though, like, you know, Shazam, Captain Marvel, and Black Adam are traditional enemies. But Dwayne Johnson wanted the control, and he exercised it. Whether that had any effect, who knows? The other blame that Zachary does, and this is wow. He blames the fans, and who does he call out? This is just rich. This is literally. I'm going to call back the name of the movie, Shazam Fury of the Gods. Yeah, you're calling the Fury of the Gods because you're blaming the Snyder fans. Dude, what are you thinking? Look, I am not a fan of the Snyderverse. I did not like the movies. I did not think they were the appropriate tone for the DC heroes. Zack Snyder, of course, has his own vision. He's welcome to it, and there are fans that love it. That's great. The thing for me that Zack Snyder got right was casting the DC Trinity. I thought they were well cast. But beyond that, I did not enjoy the movies. At the same time, I recognize that Snyder fans are passionate. I recognize they like those movies, and they want to see more of it, and they want it to continue. I appreciate that because I've said it in my other videos. I'm a Star Trek fan from 1980. I saw Star Wars in 1977. So I get it. I have that passion. And when Star Trek was being ruined in my mind with the JJ verse and Kurtzman universe, I did not like it. So I get why they're angry. I get why they're passionate. I get why they want what they want. But dude, what are you doing? Don't anger them. You are just going to you're calling it down. That's just stupid. Don't ever blame the fans. The best thing he could have done, honestly, he could have just said, look, I thought we made a good movie. I guess it didn't click with a lot of people, but still give it a chance. Go out, see it if you want. Download it on video when it comes out. Stream it, whatever. Watch it with some kids. It's a good family film. I think you might like it. That would have been the best way for him to do it. But he went the wrong way, I think, and it's not going to be any better for him, and it sure as hell is not going to help the movie. Ultimately, I think that the thing that has to be addressed in light of all of this is where do we go from here? The future. We know the DC movie universe is being rebooted under James Gunn. We've seen the slate of movies he's proposing that are going to come out in his Gunniverse. I think it's a little bit of a passion project. I think a lot of it is what he wants to see. And I think it's not going to work. I don't think we're going to see all of it. And the stuff that he's going to try to put out is not going to click. It's not going to draw people in. The days where superhero movies just printed money are gone. They're gone. Be it superhero fatigue or bad movies, probably a combination of both, I think. Whether it's, the virus that cannot be named, of unknown origin, whatever it is. The movie experience has changed. People are not watching movies the way they used to. And to think that James Gunn is going to introduce all these different characters who are not known and going to bring people in, I just cannot see this happening. When he did the Guardians, now mind you, the Guardians was almost 10 years ago. Okay, Marvel was riding high off, Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, and the Avengers. They could do no wrong at that point. We are now 10 years later. We've gone through a lot of stuff, and people have seen the same things over and over again. They've seen the quality of movies getting worse. They've seen the quality of TV shows getting worse. Just look at the MCU. MCU's not making the money it used to. Look at the slate they put out last year. You got Doctor Strange, Madness, Multiverse Madness. You got Thor, Love and Thunder. A bunch of TV shows. She-Hulk. These were not well received. Money's not being made. And all the projects are being pushed off. I would not be surprised if the Marvels go straight to D+ at this point. They keep pushing it off. Word is not good. Things are going bad. And to think the DCU, James Gunn is now going to come in at the tail end of this with all this happening, the future is not good. Period. We had the heyday. We can love the heyday, the highlights of the superhero movies, but I think it may be done. We may get a good Superman movie sometime in the future, may get some good Batman. Maybe they revive, maybe Spider-Man still goes along. But no one's going to want to go see The Authority in James Gunn's universe. No one's going to want to see Booster Gold. No one's going to see Waller. No one's going to see a Game of Thrones version of Paradise Island, Themyscira. People don't know what these things are. It's not going to happen. Shazam, Black Adam, this is the beginning of the end for DC. Kind of feel bad. I think we will get some good stuff now and then, but it's not going to be like it was, and to push it's just not going to be good. It's not going to work. People are going to lose money. People are going to lose jobs, and it probably will damage the superhero brand even more than it is. So anyway, that's my thoughts. That's where I am on Shazam Fury of the Gods. Questions, comments, witticisms down below. Click all the good buttons, and I'll see you next time.